Hello and welcome back to Mr. Hall's Read Alouds. This is part two of Desmond Cole Ghost Patrol, Night of the Zombie Zookeeper. And I will go ahead and begin. Chapter 3 Eat Now, Eat. The best thing about the Curseville Zoo and my school is they believe kids should be able to explore and learn, wait for it, on their own. I know, crazy, right? Of course, there were teachers and class parents on the trip with us. And yes, we would still have to write a report about what we saw and learned at the zoo. But it was pretty cool that we didn't have to stick together the whole time. Instead, we had to stick with our buddy. That was easy because my buddy was my best friend, Desmond. While most of the kids headed for the bears, tigers, and lions, Desmond and I took off on our own adventure. We headed straight for the giraffes, just like we planned. At the giraffe exhibit, there was a wooden platform surrounded by thick trees. It was hard to see anything other than the leaves. Then we spotted the giraffes. They were eating breakfast, if you could call a bunch of leaves breakfast. Can you believe nobody else is around? Desmond asked. The last time I was here, it was packed. I couldn't even see over all the grown ups. Some of them even had little kids on their shoulders. That was not fair. We stood there and watched the giraffes. There were four adults and three young ones that were playing like a bunch of human kids. Suddenly, I got an eerie feeling. I felt like somebody was on the platform with us. We weren't alone anymore. That's when I heard a deep voice speaking slowly from behind me. Eat now, eat. Desmond and I whipped around and nearly hopped onto the nearest giraffe's long neck. The voice belonged to a zookeeper, and he looked uh, different. Yeah, he was wearing the regular zookeeper uniform. He had the khaki shirt and the shorts and even a hat, but his eyes were big and his skin was a weird greenish color. Maybe he's not really green, I thought. Maybe it's just a reflection from all the trees. Then the zookeeper said it again. Eat. I swallowed hard and froze in place. He wants to eat us. That's when I noticed he was holding branches of leaves. Cool, Desmond said, taking one of the branches from the creepy zookeeper. Thank you. I didn't move a muscle. Come on, Andres, Desmond said, nudging me. We can feed these leaves to the giraffes. I breathed a sigh of relief. Sure, the zookeeper looked a little bit green, but it didn't mean he was going to eat us. I took the other branch from him and tried to smile. Thanks, I managed to say. The zookeeper stayed quiet. He just looked at us with an empty gaze. Then Desmond and I waved the leaves at the giraffes, and the giraffes came over to chomp the branches in our hands. I couldn't believe how close we were to them. It was amazing. When all my leaves were gone, I noticed Desmond wasn't feeding the giraffes anymore. He was staring at the zookeeper, who was now walking away. Hey Andres, he said, how do you feel about changing our zoo plan? I think we should go see the seals and penguins next. That was where the zookeeper was headed. Desmond wanted to follow him. Oh no, I thought, the Ghost Patrol had found another case. Chapter 4 Hold Your Breath. Desmond and I pushed open the double doors to the seal area. The smell was like getting hit in the face with a bag of stinky cheese and rotten eggs, all soaked in vinegar. Oof, I said, covering my mouth with my hand. What's that smell? Desmond asked. His face was scrunched up. Seals, I answered. They spend a lot of time in the water, but they smell like they need a bath. The doors closed behind us, and we were swallowed up by the darkness. I held my breath. The only light was a murky blue-gray one from down a long corridor. Cold air blew on us as we walked toward the light. Finally, I asked Desmond, "What are we doing here?" He whispered, "It's the zookeeper. There's something funny going on with him." I shook my head. He looked a little scary, but he was nice. He gave us the giraffe food. I know, Desmond said, but I still want to follow him just in case. I didn't know, I hadn't known Desmond all that long, but it was long enough to know that when his spooky alarms go off, he was always right. When we got closer to the light, we saw that it came from a large window that looked out onto a murky blue world. The glass was covered in dirty smudges, though, so it was kind of hard to make out what was inside. But then there was a splash. It was water. Suddenly, we could see seals swimming and darting around. It was pretty awesome. Desmond and I sat there alone. We couldn't take our eyes away from the seals. Splash! Oh, a seal swam around for a little while and then jumped back out onto the land above. Another seal followed and did the exact same thing. Maybe they were playing a game. It was fun to watch. Desmond was still looking for the zookeeper, but he was in sight. Maybe we should go, Desmond said. He seemed disappointed. Before I could answer, we heard splash. This time, it wasn't a seal diving into the water. It was the zookeeper. He swam all the way to the bottom and stood in front of the window, looking right at us with the same blank expression he had before. Then he pulled out a sponge and started cleaning the dirty window. After only a few wipes, the view was crystal clear. "See, Desmond," I said, "he's just doing his job. There's nothing to worry about." "Yeah, he's doing his job," Desmond said, "but he's doing it underwater, and he's doing it without any air." I gasped. Desmond was right. We both stood with our mouths hung open in horror. I started to panic. The zookeeper was spending too much time underwater without any scuba gear or anything. I could tell that Desmond and I were both wondering the same thing. This isn't possible. How is the zookeeper breathing? Chapter 5. Snakes or spiders? It didn't take Desmond and me more than a few seconds to decide what to do. Run! The problem was that I thought we were running away from the zookeeper. It turned out Desmond Cole was running after him. Before I knew it, we were on the top side of the seal area. The seals were resting on rocks in the sun. Everything seemed really normal. "Over there," Desmond said, pointing to wet footprints on the ground that led toward the lion area. "Let's follow the zookeeper." But, I said, trying to change the subject, "what about our map? Maybe we should forget about the mystery and stick to your zoo plan." Desmond grabbed my arm and pulled me. "We need to go now." The next thing I knew, Desmond and I were running toward the lion exhibit. It looked like a forest with trees and huge rocks for the lions to rest on. We found a spot where we could spy on the zookeeper. He was inside the enclosure, right next to the lions. First, we watched him feed raw steaks to the lions. The crazy thing was that he fed them with his bare hands. I almost passed out whenever a lion snapped at the meat, and each time the zookeeper pulled his hand back, he still had all his fingers. Next, we followed the zookeeper to the hippopotamus area and watched him brush the hippo's teeth. Weird, I know. And then he flossed the hippo's teeth too. Gross. Then we tracked him to the snake house and watched him go into the section with all the deadly snakes and collect their venom. It was terrifying. I would have fainted right there, but we were too close to the spider exhibit. I did not want to wake up wrapped in spider webs. Now I couldn't decide which to be more afraid of, spiders, snakes, or this zany zookeeper. Ugh. I'm worried he's going to get hurt, Desmond whispered. There's definitely something strange going on here. Then I had a brilliant plan on how to make my escape. We better go warn somebody, I said. Desmond nodded. He ran out of the snake and spider areas and found another zookeeper. She was dressed exactly the same as the creepy zookeeper, but she wasn't green. Hey kids, she said. I'm Peggy. Are you enjoying the... Wait, this is important, I cried, interrupting her. We have to tell you something. And that's exactly what we did. We told her everything we had seen, every single detail. Then we waited for her to tell us she was going to get to the bottom of this mystery. But that's not what happened. All she did was reach into her pocket and pull out a pair of tickets. You boys don't need to worry, she said, smiling at us. Here are two free passes for the merry-go-round. Go have fun. But, Desmond began. Run along, Peggy said, pointing us in the direction of the merry-go-round. Just have fun. It's easy. Fun? Something told me having fun wasn't going to be as easy as it sounded. And that is where we will stop for now. Until next time, have a great day.